Let us pray. God of creation, by whose power the world's foundation was made, we acknowledge you and your hand in this moment, a moment which will forever be etched in the annals of our country's history and on the hearts of the family, friends, and associates of your daughter, Marva. Your daughter, one whom you brought into being through the loins of parents Sybil and Leaford in the tiny district of Bamboo Walk, St. Mary. We acknowledge your hand upon her through all the changing scenes of her life. And we beseech you, O God, to enable her to sense, discern, and hold onto that self-same hand as she assumes this high office in this critical branch of the governance architecture of our beloved Jamaica. When she rises each morning to face the weighty matters of the day, help her to hold on to your hand, precious Lord, in the decisions that she will make. Help her hold on to your hand so she'll be unswerving in the pursuit of justice. When she feels weary, disconsolate, and overwhelmed, may your hand hold her up and strengthen her. O Lord, open your hand and supply all that she will need to honor her oath and execute her responsibilities with dignity. Watch over her and keep her family in the hollow of your hand. Keith, Raul, Naila, Naeem, Brittany, and little Rael, and yes, Lord, her beloved grandfather, Neville. Strengthen her support systems and surround her with a robust and helpful network. Lord our God, as the cry for justice crescendos into loud wails by some citizens of this country, and as the debates rage about the location and composition of our courts, may she add to the towering legacy of those upon whose shoulders she stands. O God of Sam Sharp, God of Nani, and God of Paul Bogle, may hers be a tenure marked by wisdom, patience, and a reconciling spirit that will be an inspiration to the young and those yet unborn about what is possible when we allow our lives to be held and guided by your hand. This is our prayer. We offer it to you. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. His Excellency the Most Honourable Sir Patrick Allen, Governor General, will now address us, after which the Governor General's Secretary, Major Dwayne Hill, will read the instrument of appointment and invite the Honourable Mrs. Justice McDonald-Bishop to take and subscribe to the Oath of Allegiance and the Judicial Oath. Immediately after, Major Hill will read the proclamation for the conferment of the National Honor, the Order of Jamaica upon Justice McDonald-Bishop, after which His Excellency will invest her with the insignia of the order. Your Excellency.
The Most Honourable and Your Holiness Prime Minister, Mr. Mark Golding, Leader of the Opposition, members of the Cabinet, Senator the Honourable Tom Tavares Finson, President of the Senate, Honourable Mr. Justice Brian Sykes, Chief Justice, Honourable Mr. Justice Patrick Brooks, immediate past President of the Court of Appeal, Honourable Mrs. Justice Marva McDonald-Bishop, President of the Court of Appeal Designate, members of the Privy Council, members of the Judicial Service Commission, members of the Judiciary, the Reverend Carl Johnson, pastor of the Filippo Baptist Church, representatives of the Bar Association, ladies and gentlemen, family and friends viewing on the media platforms. I have been advised by the Chief Justice that court opens this morning at 9 a.m., at which time Mrs. McDonald-Bishop is due to be in the seat provided for her at the Court of Appeal. And so it is necessary that we do in an expeditious manner what must be done so that she's not late for her first morning in court. It is my great honor and privilege to welcome each one of you to this significant occasion as we gather to witness the swearing in of the new President of the Court of Appeal. This ceremony marks a pivotal moment in the judicial landscape of our nation, and your presence here today underscores the importance we all place on justice, integrity, and the rule of law. The judiciary is the cornerstone of our democracy, ensuring that our laws are applied fairly and justly. It is through the diligent work of our courts that the rights of our citizens are protected and the principles of our Constitution are upheld. Today we celebrate not only a new chapter in the leadership of the Court of Appeal, but also the enduring commitment of our judiciary to these high ideals. I thank the leaders in the executive and legislative branch present here for your participation today, which signifies the harmonious relationship and mutual respect that exists between our branches of government. This collaboration is vital for the continuous development and stability of our nation. I am particularly pleased to commend our new President of the Court of Appeal, Mrs. Justice Marva McDonald-Bishop. Throughout her distinguished career, she has exemplified the highest standards of judicial excellence, integrity, and impartiality. Her profound legal acumen, coupled with her unwavering dedication to justice, has earned her the respect and admiration of her peers, the legal community, and the public at large. During my time serving in this office, I have sworn in 2 presidents to the Court of Appeal. The late Mr. Dennis Morrison and Mr. Justice Patrick Brooks. These persons would have given leadership to the Court of Appeal during most of the time Mrs. McDonald-Bishop served in that capacity. And I want to thank them for the exemplary service that they gave and the mentorship to the judges in the Court of Appeal. Thank you, Justice Patrick Brooks, for your service, and we hope that you will enjoy your retirement. As you assume this esteemed role, Mrs. McDonald-Bishop, we are confident that you will continue to lead with wisdom, fairness, and a deep commitment to the principles that define our justice system. We look forward to your contributions to the continued enhancement of our judiciary and the strengthening of our democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in extending our heartfelt congratulations and best wishes to the new President of the Court of Appeal. May her tenure be marked by a continued excellence and profound contributions to justice in our nation. Thank you.
To the Honourable Mrs. Justice Marva Angela McDonald-Bishop, greetings. Whereas subsection 1 of section 104 of the Constitution of Jamaica provides that the President of the Court of Appeal shall be appointed by the Governor-General by instrument under the Broad Seal of Jamaica on the recommendation of the Prime Minister after consultation with the Leader of the Opposition. And whereas there is occasion for the appointment of a President of the Court of Appeal, and whereas the Prime Minister, after consultation with the Leader of the Opposition, has recommended that you, the Honourable Mrs. Justice Marva Angela McDonald-Bishop, be appointed President of the Court of Appeal. Now, therefore, I, Patrick Linton Allen, Governor-General of Jamaica, reposing full trust in your zeal, ability, and discretion, do hereby, in exercise of the power vested in me by the Constitution of Jamaica, appoint you, the said Marva Angela McDonald-Bishop, to the office of President of the Court of Appeal, with effect from the 18th day of July, 2024. Given under my hand and the Broad Seal of Jamaica at King's House this 18th day of July in the year of our Lord 2024 and the second year of the reign of His Majesty King Charles III. God save the King.
Thank you. Morning. Which one first? Judicial oath. I, Marva Angela McDonald-Bishop, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution of Jamaica, and that I will administer justice to all persons alike in accordance with the laws and usages of Jamaica, without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help me God. I, Marva Angela McDonald-Bishop, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Jamaica, that I will uphold and defend the Constitution and the laws of Jamaica, and that I will conscientiously and impartially discharge my responsibilities to the people of Jamaica, so help me God.
I will now read the proclamation for the conferment of the national honor, the Order of Jamaica, upon the Honourable Mrs. Justice Marva McDonald-Bishop, after which His Excellency, the Governor-General, will invest the President with the insignia of the Order. Proclamation. His Excellency, the Governor-General, the Most Honourable Sir Patrick Linton Allen, Member of the Order of the Nation, Knight Grand Cross of the Most Distinguished Order of St. Michael and St. George, Member of the Order of Distinction in the rank of Commander, Knight of Grace of the Most Venerable Order of the Hospital of St. John of Jerusalem, acting in accordance with the provisions of Regulations 4 and 13 of the National Honours and Awards, Order of Jamaica, Regulations 1970, and on the advice of the Prime Minister, the Most Honourable Andrew Michael Holness, Order of the Nation, Privy Councillor, Member of Parliament, is pleased to confer the honour of the Order of Jamaica upon the Honourable Mrs. Marva McDonald-Bishop, Order of Distinction in the rank of Commander, for her distinguished service to the judiciary and elevation to the post of President of Court of Appeal, with effect from the 18th day of July in the year 2024.
Thank you, Your Excellency. I now invite the Most Honourable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister, to give his remarks.
Thank you, Madam Master of Ceremonies. His Excellency, the Most Honourable Sir Patrick Allen, Governor-General, and Her Excellency, Lady Allen, Mr. Mark Goling, Leader of the Opposition, members of the Cabinet, Senator the Honourable Tom Tavares Vinson, President of the Senate, the Honourable Mr. Justice Sykes, Chief Justice and Member of the Judiciary, and members of the Judiciary, the Honourable Mrs. Justice Marva McDonald-Bishop, President of the Court of Appeal, and Mr. Bishop and family. And please give an equal rousing applause to the Honourable Mr. Patrick Brooks. Former President of the Court of Appeal, other public officials, especially invited guests, representatives of the media, it is indeed a good morning to be here. Today we gather to witness a significant moment in the life of our judiciary as we swear in a new President of the Court of Appeal. Let me begin by recommitting to the judiciary the support of the government of Jamaica in continuing to provide the resources necessary to ensure that our judicial system is functional and effective for all Jamaicans. We recognize the vital role that a robust and efficient judiciary plays in the development and stability of our nation. Today, as we pass the baton, once again, at the level of our appellate court, from Justice Brooks as President of the Court of Appeal to Justice McDonald-Bishop, I extend my gratitude to Justice Brooks for his many years of distinguished and selfless service at various levels of our justice system. Justice Brooks' illustrious career began with his admission to the practice of law in 1979. He leaves a legacy which confirms that his many decades of service have no doubt been a significant credit to our jurisprudence. It is with great pleasure that we welcome Justice Marva McDonald-Bishop as the new President of the Court of Appeal. Justice McDonald-Bishop, your swearing in today marks a historic moment for our judiciary and for Jamaica, as you become the first woman to hold this prestigious position. Justice McDonald-Bishop's ascension is a testament to her exceptional legal acumen, dedication, and the respect she commands within the legal community. Her journey from a prosecutor in the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions to her appointment to the Supreme Court bench and subsequently to the Appeals Court in 2014 are among the highlights of her outstanding career. I extend my sincere congratulations to the new President of the Court of Appeal. And so that you can get to court early, Justice McDonald-Bishop, I am confident that under your leadership, the Court of Appeal will continue to uphold the highest standards of judicial excellence. Congratulations. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you so much, the Most Honourable and Your Holiness. Thank you so much, sir. I now invite Mr. Mark Golding, Leader of the Opposition, to give his remarks.
Thank you, Madam Master of Ceremonies. Your Excellency, Sir Patrick Allen and Lady Allen, Most Honourable Prime Minister, President of the Senate, Chief Justice, former President of the Court of Appeal, and our newly installed President of the Court of Appeal, members of the Judiciary, members of the Cabinet, distinguished guests. I am mindful of the injunction that was granted earlier by the Governor General as to time. I want to join in the commendations expressed by the Prime Minister on the appointment of our first female President of the Court of Appeal, a historic appointment. Lady Justice Marva McDonald-Bishop, your reputation for erudition, as exemplified in the judgments which I've had the benefit of reading, indicates the appropriateness of this appointment. I want to congratulate you heartily on this momentous occasion. Justice Brooks, you have served your country with the highest distinction. I was here on the date of your appointment, and I'm here on the date that you are demitting office. In that interregnum, you have made a significant contribution to the justice system and administration of justice in Jamaica, and I want to thank you for your service and wish you all the best in your retirement. It is well known that the scope of activities available to retired judges is not as wide as applies generally. However, there are avenues for continued service, and I will be interested to see how you choose to deploy your time going forward, knowing that you are still extremely capable and in a position to continue to serve if you so choose. Lady Justice Marva McDonald-Bishop, you have ascended to this apex position in the local court system at a time when Jamaica has gone through over a decade of intense reform of our justice system, seeking to transform it into one of the highest standards of efficiency and overall administrative and judicial excellence. It is a work in progress, and I am confident that under your leadership, that progress will continue so that the erudition and quality of your judicial adjudication will be matched by the continued efforts to improve the efficiency of the system so that it serves the economy and the people of Jamaica as well as it possibly can. I join in the remarks that I read of the Chief Justice yesterday at the ceremony, in which he indicated the role that Justice Patrick Brooks had served and had played in that process, and that will redound to his permanent record as one of the transformational agents in the judicial system, of which the Chief Justice is also a key agent. And I look forward to you also playing your role in that regard. And I wish you very well and look forward to the service which you will deploy in the best interests of the people of Jamaica and in keeping with the oath which you just delivered with aplomb. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mark Golding. I now invite the Honourable Delroy Chuck, Minister of Justice, to give his remarks.
Thank you very much, Madam Master of Ceremony. Your Excellency, Sir Patrick Allen and Lady Allen, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Most Honourable Andrew Holness, Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Mark Golding, President of the Senate, Mr. Tom Tavares Finsa, Chief Justice of Jamaica, Honourable Brian Sykes and Mrs. Sykes, new President of the Court of Appeal, Mrs. Marva McDonald-Bishop and Mr. Bishop, members of the judiciary, ladies and gentlemen. I am very privileged and honoured to make a few brief remarks in support of the new appointment of the President of the Court of Appeal. Before saying much more, however, I want to also thank the Honourable Patrick Brooks for the outstanding service to the Court of Appeal and the judiciary in general. I know, former President Patrick Brooks, that your legacy and the efficiency that you brought to the Court of Appeal was well recognized, and I have no doubt will be continued. I must say, we welcome the new appointment, and I would like to indicate to you, Madam President, that a few months ago, when I started to make my inquiries as to who should take over as new president, there was universal support for your appointment. And I can say that at all levels, there were no detractors. So it shows the high regard that you have amongst the legal profession and the judiciary. And I know with that support, it will allow you to continue to improve the production and efficiency of the Court of Appeal. I know the Chief Justice will depend on you because he will be constantly giving you data as to how the Court of Appeal and other courts are performing. He will remind you that in 2022, the efficiency rate was 107%, and in 2023, it is 118%. So he will be looking forward to what it will be in 2024. But I have no doubt, Madam President, that you will continue the efficiency and the production at the level of the Court of Appeal. I do not know what new innovation you will bring to the Court of Appeal, but certainly it is up to you. I can recommend just one. I think that you should urge counsel to put in more written submissions. You don't have to go the full way of the American system, where most appeals are dealt with in writing, and the attorneys have only 15 minutes, at most half an hour, to make their presentations. But I do believe one innovation which could improve the efficiency of our courts is for counsel to provide their arguments in writing and have less verbal presentations in the courts. That would certainly ensure that the efficiency level of the Court of Appeal will improve. That's just one suggestion, Madam President. I know you will also bring many other innovations, and I wish you the very best in your tenure and expect that you will continue to add to the jurisprudence of our country and the region. I've read quite a few of your judgments. They have such depth of legal learning. They have added to the jurisprudence of our country. I've only expressed to you that I've read many of them. Unfortunately, or fortunately, many of them are over 100 pages. We hope as President that they will be a bit shorter. Welcome, Madam President.
Thank you very much, Minister Chuck. I now invite the Honourable Mr. Justice Sykes, who will give his remarks.
Madam Master of Ceremonies, Your Excellencies, Sir Patrick Allen, Lady Allen, Honourable Prime Minister, Leader of the Opposition, members of the Judiciary, and my long-standing friend and colleague and now President of the Court of Appeal, the Honourable Mrs. Justice Marva Angela McDonald-Bishop, Order of Jamaica, Order of Distinction Commander Class, welcome to the Presidency of the Court of Appeal. I also wish to recognize Honourable Mr. Justice Seymour Panton is also a critical and important figure in the administration of justice in Jamaica. He had the distinction of being one of the youngest judges at the time of the Supreme Court and had many, many years of service as a resident magistrate, judge of the High Court, also in the Court of Appeal, and also President of the Court of Appeal. And we thank him for his service. So I'll begin my brief remarks by thanking the immediate past President, the Honourable Mr. Justice Brooks, for his outstanding service to the judiciary of Jamaica, and in particular the Court of Appeal. His career spanned 45 years, which began as a temporary assistant clerk in the then resident magistrates court and culminating in his presidency of the Court of Appeal. And though he was there for what some would consider a very short time, but his achievement there has been nothing short of remarkable in the time that he was there. He was the first president to introduce an actually strategic business plan and executed it within that court, and that has accounted significantly for the improved performance of the court. He was an advocate of results-based management, and of course he liked to measure the performance of the court. No surprises there. We introduced a number of committees within the court to ensure that there was a balance between the human element, very critical to the success of any organization, and the performance of the court. And so he demonstrated that there is no incompatibility between efficiency of the courts and delivering high-quality justice, and at the same time maintaining and seeing to the welfare of the internal stakeholders who have to do the work to get the performance done. President Brooks has transformed minds, thinking, actions, and has placed the court on the path to greatness in productivity, in governance, and in quality. And I wish to thank him for that. Now, I do not know whether his wife is here. I know she was at the sitting of the court yesterday, but I wish to thank in this forum his wife, Winsome, his son, Nicholas, his daughter, Natalie, who have provided the nurture, the support, and the stable family setting that enabled him to serve the country both as a judge, president of the court, and also as a private practitioner at the firm of Nunes, Coalfield, and De Leon. And in particular, I wish to thank his daughter that has now provided him with additional job. He's now a grandfather. And so he now has a grandson, Benjamin, who is looking forward to spending more time with him. So, ladies and gentlemen, today marks a significant milestone in our history. We have had acting presidents before, Honourable Miss Justice Marge Morgan, and then who is here, Mr. Justice Phillips, acted as President of the Court of Appeal, and then Justice McDonald-Bishop acted as President of the Court of Appeal. But we now have an appointed woman, a woman appointed to the presidency of the court, and that's a very significant development here in Jamaica. You may hear from her, or you will hear from her, that she's from St. Mary, from Retreat Basic School, Retreat All Age, Marymount High School, and St. Mary's High School. I will tell you that she was not a problem child. It was first to fifth form at Marymount, and then she did the sixth form at St. Mary High School. And that began her journey to the presidency of the court. The circumstances of her appointment ought to be noted, and that is, regardless of the selection process, and there's a great debate as to how the Chief Justice and the President of the Court of Appeal should be selected. But what we can be assured of is that the Honourable Mrs. Justice McDonald-Bishop is here on merit. Okay? She's what we would say, as I indicated yesterday, performance qualified to do the job. And that has been demonstrated through her long career, which began in 1986. I think that's where we first met, at the Resident Magistrates Court at Halfway Tree. That was then the criminal division. She was a temporary assistant clerk there. Notice a similarity between the career of Justice Brooks and the career of Justice McDonald-Bishop, both temporary assistant clerks. Then she eventually became a deputy clerk of court, subsequently clerk of court, and then she was admitted to the bar in 1996. Spent a brief time in the office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, and then she embarked upon her legal career as a resident magistrate for the parish of Manchester. Now, that stint in Manchester proved to be extraordinarily important in this way. The late Mr. Owen Crosby, he took issue with just about every decision that she made. And so what happened was that because he was one of those attorneys who felt that the judge was always wrong, he took his many matters to the Court of Appeal. And that provided an opportunity for the Court of Appeal to see the quality of her work. And after several appeals, I think it was the Honourable Mr. Justice Paul Harrison who spoke to the then Chief Justice and said, based upon what we have seen here, this judge must be in the Supreme Court in short order. And so that is how she came to be in the Supreme Court, because the quality of her work spoke for itself. She excelled in the Supreme Court, then went across to the Court of Appeal, where she has done remarkably well. But she has also sat as a judge in the Grand Court of the Cayman Islands, and as a temporary judge, and as a judge at the Commonwealth Secretariat Arbitral Tribunal. As you know, many of these international organizations, they're immune from suit within local courts, but they have an administrative tribunal through which disputes within the organization are resolved. So she has been on that body. She served 3 years, and I think she's in her second 3-year term there. And I'll tell you that since she got there, she introduced an innovation. There was an appeal. One of the judges that don't sit at first instance sit on appeal. And so there was an appeal. And so she introduced rigorous case management to the tribunal. And so the appellant filed his appeal, and at the end of the rigorous case management, he came to the conclusion that his case had no merit. And so, highlighting the importance of case management in being a productive court. She's also a member of the Commonwealth Judges and Magistrates Association, a member of the Jamaican International Association of Women Judges. She's also a certified and trained judicial educator, and she, along with the Honourable Mrs. Justice Vinette Graham, were certified by the United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime Judicial Control as trainer of trainers on judicial ethics. She has been the program coordinator at the Justice Training Institute for the Deputy Clerk of Courts Qualifying Examinations course, a course that is near and dear to her heart because that course played a pivotal role in her legal journey. She is a tutor at the law school in the law of evidence, and so the point that I'm making is that she has contributed significantly as a teacher, trainer of judges. She is sought after by other judiciaries within the region, and I think in the next few weeks she'll be off to Belize to train judges there. So her work and worth is recognized not just here in Jamaica, but across the Caribbean and the wider community. And hence, to repeat, she's here on merit. So I wish to pledge my unwavering support to her. She has my commitment that I will do all within my power to ensure that her presidency is a successful one. Now, this is, I won't tell you her age. It's not polite to do that. But what I will say is that should she continue as president until she gets to retirement, I'll be demitting office before. So this, I have had the opportunity of being here, the swearing in of two presidents, Justice Dennis Morrison and the Honourable Mr. Justice Patrick Brooks. So I think this will be the last time that I'll be here in this capacity at the swearing in of a president of the Court of Appeal. So I wish to say congratulations to you and to welcome you to the leadership and to continue the excellent work begun by Justice Brooks. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Justice Sykes. I now invite former President of the Court of Appeal, the Honourable Justice Brooks, to give his remarks.
The Most Honourable Sir Patrick Linton Allen, Governor General of Jamaica, Most Honourable Lady Allen, Most Honourable Mr. Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, Mr. Mark Golding, Leader of the Opposition, members of the Cabinet, Senator the Honourable Tom Tavares Finson, President of the Senate, the Honourable Mr. Justice Brand Sykes, Chief Justice of Jamaica, and Dr. Crawford Sykes, the Honourable Mrs. Justice Marva McDonald-Bishop, President of the Court of Appeal. Members of the Privy Council, members of the Judicial Service Commission, members of the judiciary present, serving, and retired. I omitted to recognize the Honourable Mr. Justice Seymour Panton, past President of the Court of Appeal, no longer the youngest past President of the Court of Appeal. Mr. Keith Bishop, spouse of Mrs. McDonald-Bishop, and the rest of the family. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all good morning. Your Excellency, let me firstly, on behalf of the persons gathered, present physically and virtually, thank you and the staff of King's House for again hosting us this morning, this time at very short notice. Thank you too for swearing in our learned sister, my friend and colleague, the Honourable Mrs. Justice Marva McDonald-Bishop, as President of the Court of Appeal and appointing her to the Order of Jamaica and investing her with the insignia of that order. Thanks to Your Excellency for your kind wishes and words of encouragement to her and to the wider judiciary. Your Excellency, allow me to join you in congratulating her on today's achievements. It is truly a pleasure for me to see her so preferred. Justice McDonald-Bishop's proven ability, as spoken to by the Honourable Chief Justice, her interest in the court, and her desire for it to do well are indicators that there is no one better qualified to be appointed as president of the court. Justice McDonald-Bishop is academically brilliant. She has a Bachelor's of Arts degree with first-class honors, a Bachelor of Laws degree with first-class honors. She has performed, as the Chief Justice has said, at every level of the court system from 1986 to the time when she was sworn in as a judge of the Court of Appeal in 2015. Her ability and performance in each position that she has held has earned her promotion to the next level. She is now, or up to a few minutes ago, the most senior appellate judge in the court. Her experience, Your Excellency, has honed her into a first-class jurist who is knowledgeable in the law and the practice of law. She has accumulated a body of work that is comprised of many judgments, both in the Supreme Court and in the Court of Appeal, and many presentations that she has made on a variety of subjects to a variety of audiences, both here and abroad. Several of Justice McDonald-Bishop's judgments on various topics are regularly quoted in later cases, both in Jamaica and in the Commonwealth. She has brought distinction to our island. Justice McDonald-Bishop has the benefit of knowing the court, and she has previously proved that ability to execute the duties of president when she acted as president of the Court of Appeal in the Hillary term of 2022, from 10th January 2022 to the 8th of April 2022. She performed well during her time in office, and the court is the better for having had her in the post. During that time, Your Excellency, she initiated measures that helped to engender cohesiveness and cooperation among the court staff. I was on vacation at the time, but I wasn't like a previous Chief Justice who, after he returned from vacation and learned what his colleague who had acted in his stead during vacation time had done, reversed everything that he had done. I saw the benefits of Justice McDonald-Bishop's initiatives, and I embraced them. She has the respect of the judges and the staff of the court, and she has exhibited a keen interest in the court's welfare. As a certified judicial trainer, Justice McDonald-Bishop has often been called upon, and the Chief Justice mentioned that she's soon to go to Belize. She has often been called upon to conduct training for judges of the Court of Appeal as well as of the Supreme Court. She has commendably represented the Jamaican judiciary in several judicial conferences overseas. She's also, as the Chief Justice again mentioned, is a sitting member of the Commonwealth Secretarial Arbitral Tribunal. Well suited for the job. Your Excellency, I cannot close without expressing my continued appreciation to the team at the Court of Appeal. At the beginning of this term, I reported on the team's positive performance based on the statistics. The trend has continued, not only in productivity, but based on the new judicial strategic plan spearheaded by the Chief Justice that places greater emphasis on the welfare of staff members. The management team of the Court of Appeal and the Social Affairs Committee at the Court have achieved some improvements aimed at making the environment more attuned to enhancing the mental health of staff. We have initiatives now such as Tie Day, where almost all members of staff, men and women, wear ties according to their style. We have Happiness Days, activities, and Smoothie Day. Your Excellency, we now have quiet areas where staff members can retreat for a little while for solitary time. And just last week, benches and a table were commissioned into service in the courtyard to be used by team members. The data transformation team, including the technical staff from the Court Administration Division, have overseen the training of both internal and external stakeholders in the use of e-filing, of the e-filing platform. This will allow practitioners and the other stakeholders to file documents in the court without having to physically appear there. The pilot project is now on and it is already open for use. I encourage the firms and the chambers that have been trained, that have had members trained for use on the platform, to use the platform so that the skills learned are not lost. We have not yet seen any cases filed, but a few weeks ago, some members of the Department of Correctional Services were trained to use the system, and it is expected that they will be a source of our first e-filed cases, which will be in the sphere of the criminal law. Justice McDonald-Bishop's knowledge and ability will help the court to navigate this new frontier, and I wish her all the very best in those endeavors. She will have the support of the Court of Appeal as the court continues to move forward. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Justice Brooks. I now invite the President of the Court of Appeal, Mrs. Justice McDonald-Bishop, President of the Court of Appeal, to give her reply.
His Excellency, the Most Honourable Governor General, Sir Patrick Allen, the Most Honourable Lady Allen, for whom I reserve a big smile, not St. Mary, the Most Honourable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister, Mr. Mark Golding, members of the Cabinet, and I will single out painfully the Minister of Justice, Mr. Delroy Chuck, and happily my classmate, Mrs. Marlene Malahoo Fort, Minister of Legal and, if I'm getting it wrong, it's okay, I'm nervous. Legal and Constitutional Affairs, is that correct? She's my batchmate and friend. Senator, the Honourable Tom Tavares Finson, President of the Senate and one of those lawyers who always gives me trouble. The Honourable Mr. Justice Brian Sykes, Chief Justice, friend and church brother. Honourable Mr. Justice Patrick Brooks, former President of the Court of Appeal. My friend and mentor, as well as Justice Sykes. The Honourable Mrs. Justice Marva McDonald-Bishop, President of the Court of Appeal. Thank you very much. It sounded good. Members of the Privy Council, members of the Judicial Service Commission, especially my classmate, Miss Celia Blake. I have to highlight my classmates. Members of the judiciary, my spiritual leader, the Reverend Carl Johnson, and his wife, Sister Yvette. Did I say? And Dr. Sykes with the Chief Justice, my friend and church sister, Dr. Crawford Sykes, who have been calling me for weeks to be here. Representatives of the bar, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, family, especially my own, and friends. I will add to my salutations the Honourable Dr. Lloyd Barnett. Is he here? Maybe he's the oldest attorney at law present. And Mr. Hugh Small, who called me to the bar, King's Counsel. And I left the best for last. The Honourable used to be the youngest retired president of the Court of Appeal, Justice Seymour Panton. Justice Panton, I left him for last because I'm going to start with him. He deserved this moment as equally as I do. When I started out in the court system in 1986, he sat on the panel with Justices Boyd Carey and Paul Harrison, who were then Supreme Court judges, to appoint me to the justice system. And today I can say, I'm sure I've done him proud, because he invited me to the Court of Appeal. And what I say this morning is, thank God he has lived to see this day. Your Excellencies, yesterday, a colleague of mine of the Faculty of Law class of 1995, a year behind me, sent me a WhatsApp message with an excerpt from a magazine that was published by that class when I left Cave Hill in 1995. Incidentally, the Minister of Justice is in the same magazine. And he was then senior lecturer in law and, what was he again? Attorney at law, yes. And he wrote an article, How to Get into Law. Imagine that. But the one that applies or relates to me, it bore the caption, the WhatsApp said, a blast from the past. So I said, what is this blast? And when I opened it, it shows me in 1995, almost 30 years ago, an article appeared in the 25th anniversary yearbook of the Faculty of Law at the Cave Hill campus, Barbados. It was headed, Phenomenal Woman. Did I salute my class of 1996? Help me, please. That's from the law school, 94 from Cave Hill. It started, Maya Angelou's poem, The Phenomenal Woman, is, some would agree, a succinct description of Marva, 30 years ago. The writer chose the last stanza of that poem that she believed succinctly describes me, and it reads, now you understand just why my head's not bowed. I don't shout or jump about or have to talk real loud. When you see me passing, it ought to make you feel real proud. I say, it's in the click of my heels, the bend of my hair, and the palm of my hand. The need for my care, because I'm a woman, phenomenal woman, that's me. Now, I'm not bigging up myself on that. I did not accept it at the time. I did not see why they would view me as phenomenal just because they say I was the first female in the university to have obtained 2 first-class degrees consecutively. What I took from the poem was I think it was extracted from Still I Rise. What I took from that poem is that they saw me as someone walking, silently going by. Didn't have to shout to reload for anybody to know who I am. And that lived with me. And today, Mr. Prime Minister, I can tell you, it's against my background and the journey that I had embarked on when I left St. Mary, 1985, got a job at the Halfway Tree Court that has led me here today. And it is with mixed humility and pride that I accept this appointment. I accept this appointment, ladies and gentlemen, because it's on merit, recognized merit. I accept this appointment when the Prime Minister called me. May I say this? Nobody here can stop me, not even the Governor General, I think. Because I'm supposed to be, they say, the highest ranking judge in the highest court on the land just now, so I can overrule the Chief Justice to say I'll be here. But truthfully, I thank the Prime Minister for the blind faith and confidence he has reposed in my capabilities. I say that because the Prime Minister does not know me, or so I think. It's evident that he placed serious weight on a lot of hearsay assertions, which I will not overrule, I'll accept. But I thank the persons who recommended me to him because I know he must have been doing his investigations. And when he called me on the telephone, I said, Prime Minister, I'm shocked. Why are you shocked? You have done a great job. I said, Prime Minister, I have no color. I'm going to come to King's House in a green dress, and orange shoes, orange belt, and orange handbag to show that I represent everyone. I have no color. And so I thank him wholeheartedly. The same applies to the leader of the opposition, who I don't know if he knows me, because I don't know people, only my St. Mary people I know, and my colleagues. But he did not object. That's why I'm here today. He too followed blind faith, I think. And he's willing, as the Prime Minister is, to take a chance on me. So you see, they can cooperate. Our democracy is still strong. But above all else, I thank the Governor General in that space for accepting the recommendation. He knows me better than the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition because he has sworn me in here more times than I can count. But I'm not surprised that he would have approved my appointment because His Excellency is a sensible man. Having married Lady Allen, a beautiful soul from St. Mary, he knows how to make the right pick. And so on that premise alone, Honourable Prime Minister and Mr. Golding, you can rest assured that you have gotten it right. You have gotten it right because I've been mentored, molded, and prepared through the love, support, and prayers of so many for such a time as this. In this context, the Honourable Chief Justice, Mr. Brian Sykes, I thank you for your friendship, your mentorship, your leadership, which I treasure dearly. And I thank you all, too, within this context for your encouraging words. My head was swollen while I sat there, and I was wondering if I had my heart medication. I don't have a heart problem, I'm sorry. Your wavering support, Chief Justice, and encouragement of me in all my endeavors since I served as your assistant clerk of the court at the Halfway Tree Court, and when as your junior counsel in the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, is highly appreciated. And in this context, I salute Mr. Kent Pantry, who was my boss at the DPP's office. I salute Mr. so that I don't forget them, Mr. Lloyd Hibbert, who was instrumental in getting me to the DPP, Ms. Paula Llewellyn, who is one of those who showed me the ropes as a junior counsel. Even Mr. Wildman, I acted as counsel for at the Supreme Court. I appreciate it. And all my other colleagues at the DPP. I look forward to working with you, Chief Justice, in my new role as we partner for the advancement of the administration of justice and the betterment of our people. The Honourable President Brooks, now retired, you have been a true friend and inspirational leader, mentor, whose footsteps I will try to follow because you move fast. But I did it from you were in Chambers 14 when I took that Chambers from you to the Court of Appeal, where I will again take your Chambers. I will rest on the submissions I made yesterday in the sitting and will simply say this. You're a shining example of excellence in the judiciary. It's been my honor to work with you, beside you, and under your leadership. Your legacy will continue to inspire me. I salute you, and I wish for you a happy, healthy, and prosperous retirement. I thank my spiritual leader, Reverend Carl Johnson. You heard the powerful Baptist prayer. Paul Bogle, Sam Sharp, Nanny of the Maroons are happy this morning. Every time I go to Filippo, I hear the chains of those persons, those enslaved, and that is why I'm at Filippo. It reminded me so much of my history, which I'll never forget. So, I thank you for raising the spirits of my ancestors, strong black people who fought for freedom and democracy, values that I cherish. Keep up the good work, and I ask that God will continue to strengthen and guide you as you continue in His great service. Permit me to salute all my remarkable predecessors in the law who have paved the way for me and who have prepared me for this mission. It's so dangerous to call names. I'm trying not to call names, but how can I not call names? If your name is left out, I love you even more, but I don't have the time. All I'll say is that I have named many of those individuals in my past speeches here, and I will not repeat the names today. I've already acknowledged Mr. Justice Seymour Panton. But I have to acknowledge retired senior puisne judge, Justice Gloria Smith. Don't know if she's here. She was invited. Who stood by me. She was my teacher from I was an assistant clerk of court on the deputy clerk of court's examination. Yesterday, she has lived long enough to retire and to send me a nice orchid. And that is not the reason why I'm saluting her. But when my eldest son was being called to the bar, I was doing a murder case in St. Anne, and I could not attend the Supreme Court to see my own child called to the bar. Justice Gloria volunteered to sit with the Chief Justice for me, and I appreciate it to this day because I know I've sacrificed much for the service of my people. My son, I hope he can forgive me, Mr. Raul Lindo, attorney at law of 30 years standing. Mr. Oswald Burchinson, the first magistrate with whom I worked in Manchester. Mr. Owen Parkin, I think is the longest serving resident magistrate still alive. He's the first magistrate with whom I worked at the Halfway Tree Court. Justice Vinette Graham Allen, puisne judge, my first clerk of court when I was second to Justice Sykes. Miss Carolyn Reed Cameron, public defender, my clerk at Halfway Tree Court. When I left Halfway Tree, when I dropped out of the University of the West Indies in 1986 because I couldn't afford the cess that they had imposed. And 1989 I resumed because Miss Carolyn Reed Cameron told me, you have no ambition, you need to go back to the university. You are bright, you're wasting your time, and I thank her for it because I stand here today because of such encouragement. I have to salute, I won't name them all, but my friends who carried me at Halfway Tree Court, Resident Magistrates Court, some of whom are here today. Miss Grace Henley, Justice Henry Mackenzie, who was a clerk, now a puisne judge. Miss Maxine Jackson, my assistant clerk, now a puisne judge. Miss Nadine Barton, attorney at law, because all of us left Halfway Tree as attorneys at law. Mr. Greenwood, Marcus, and many more I have here, but I won't list. I thank you all for grounding me and giving me the humility that has taken me here. To the members of the public and private bar, I've already called out Mr. Pantry and so on. Memory of Mr. Glenn Andrade lives on. I have persons who kept my mind well. My doctor of 40 years, Dr. Miles Morgan, I salute you. You have been excellent to me. Dr. Barry Davidson, my counselor. Sometimes when life gets rough, you have to get psychological help. And Reverend Jeffrey Mackenzie, my former pastor of the Filippo Baptist Church. All these persons have helped me to become a wholesome and healthy individual, spiritually, physically, psychologically. I'm ready for the job. My friends, my schoolmates, class of 1982, Marymount High School. 1984, St. Mary High School, Mr. Gary Allen of RGR Gleaner Communications Group, my walking partner to Highgate in the evenings to catch a school bus. I hope you're here. Mr. Henlin, my classmates of St. Mary High School. Well, not quite. I was 1 year above them. My class of 1992, Cave Hill. 1996, the Norman Manley Law School. And all my school family. My work family, from the parish court up to the DPP, up to the Supreme Court, under the leadership of retired Chief Justice Zayla McCullough, who I salute today as the first female Chief Justice of Jamaica, who has left so many things with us for more effective execution of her task, especially the continued focus on judicial education. Please clap her. I could not have done this, and I see you, Miss Carol Dorman, class of 96 as well. I could not have done this at all without the help, without the shoulders of all these persons, all these groups. But my greatest love is for my work family at the Court of Appeal. You should have seen when the Prime Minister called me. I think he would have heard the jubilation in the office. I had to push them off. They were going to block the road. We are a family, and I know I can rely on your support, your continued wisdom, your encouragement, your camaraderie have been and will continue to be invaluable. I will just be leaning on you. Just this week I saw this new Jamaican proverb, one finger can't catch lice. One finger can't take up stone. What it means, in effect, it takes teamwork to achieve much. No matter how simple it may seem, it requires the cooperation and help of others to accomplish it. So I will be a follower as much as I will be a leader. I thank you for your support, my colleagues. There is one classmate I must highlight in my group, Justice Carol Edwards, who sits with me at the Court of Appeal, class of 1996. The senior puny judge of the Supreme Court, Justice Lorna Shelley Williams, class of 1996. I know that the class of 1996 would have produced somebody in my person. It might not have been me, but we were an outstanding class, and we sent the most judges in the justice system upon graduation. The Registrar of the Court of Appeal, I'm expecting you to be there with me like my spouse. You have been tremendous. To my family, to whom I owe the biggest thanks, my most important fans, I must pay tribute to those who have transitioned this world, who have laid the necessary foundation for my achievements. In this regard, I acknowledge the contribution of my grandfather, Mr. Neville McGee, and I'm going to ask you to clap him for me. He provided me with a solid start for life. That man looked at me and said, I'll spend the last dollar to send you to school. I was so embarrassed. Every time he walked through the community, he would say, this one, her brain is good. I'm going to spend on her. I'm going to spend all my money on her and see what has happened today. I'll be indebted to him for reasons words cannot adequately express. Of course, my mother, Sybil Joy. She is the mother to my children. I could not have accomplished this without her support. She travels with me all over the place. Cayman, she's with me. She's my constant companion, my friend and confidant, my strength. I love your mother, and I hope your heart can take this today, because this is serious. Had it not been for you, my family has made me everything I am and more, and I owe to them, especially my children, of whom I'm well pleased. One of them is now in the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, Nahila Bishop, and I celebrate. Naheem Bishop, my son, my last son, is supposed to be leaving the law school if he gets through ethics. Hope he does. My daughter, Brittany, she's my quiet companion. I have so many of them, sorry. My granddaughter, Rhea. I hope she's seeing her grandma today. It's a proud moment for any little girl and boy in Jamaica. My in-laws, Keith's mother, Aunt Verna, and the family. You also have provided me with real, serious, commendable support. I blow before I speak on this one. My husband, Keith Bishop. He's not a perfect man, not at all. Nobody is. But I can tell you, he's the most perfect man I could have chosen. Despite all the gallivanting you see out there that I know about, he never leaves me. Class of 1996. May I just say, he treats me like a queen. He was my best friend at Cave Hill, and he remained my best friend to date. President of my fan club, he cites all my judgments. Minister Chalk, I was going to leave you last. I'm finished now, Your Excellency, because the Prime Minister did not give me enough time to write a speech, you see? So, Mr. Chalk loves to trouble me and my judgments, but you have some lazy lawyers who don't like to read. So when they get real stuff, they believe it's too long. I say no more. But I thank him for his support. I thank him. Your Excellency, I have much more to say, but I can't say everything, except to say, Donna Brown, I see you. I can't name everybody. All my friends, had it not been for you, I would not have been here. You have kept me grounded. Jordan, I see you. Had it not been for you and my other judicial clerks, Mr. Carson Hamilton, I don't know if I could have sent out any judgment. Ms. Shereen Reddy-Smith and Ms. Jackie McLeod. I thank you. Your Excellency, I'm going to close now. I see you're getting tired. I harbor some apprehension, though. Everybody's celebrating me, but I am nervous about the job that lies ahead because justice is not easy. So what I've done on the instruction of the Chief Justice is to go to AI, artificial intelligence, because he wants to introduce it in the judiciary. I'm testing it out. And I put in what makes a good judicial leader. And I got many features of who is a good judicial leader. All I can say today, I'm going to adopt them all and utilize them and see where it leads me. I asked it, what is a model justice system? And it gave me a host of things that I'm going to go to the executive with to make sure we have a model judicial system. It says the Scandinavian countries, Canada, and I think New Zealand have the best system. So I'm going to urge Minister Chalk to give the justice system some money so the Chief Justice and I can go to these countries to see what they have, because justice is connected to the economy. The economy is connected to governance. Governance is connected to voting. So we have to ensure that we see the circle. Most importantly, and I close now, I know I have more to say, but I can't. So forgive me if I don't call your names. But the most important one is to be a visionary, providing a clear vision and direction. I have seen my sisters over there, my siblings, Karine and Kerry. When I did a case the other day, Kerry came to the Court of Appeal, and she heard me in court, and she went and applied to do law. Rochelle Marsh. She got into the law faculty because she said after hearing me in court, she's going to do law. So my family should have about 7 lawyers by the time we're finished. Communicative. Fostering communication with all stakeholders. Collaborative. And this one is key, building strong relationships with other branches of government and the legal community. So as I leave here today, I intend to collaborate with the executive so that the judiciary, the third arm of government, can take its rightful place in the governance of this country. We are a part of government. So I leave here today. I must continue my labor for justice, for the benefit of all Jamaicans, even those who you may believe are guilty. But the Constitution must prevail at all times. I do it for the benefit of our country, Jamaica, land we love. As Aristotle said, it is injustice. It is injustice that the ordering of society is centered. With God's help, I shall succeed because He has always been with me. He has put me up, He has put me on mountains, and I am never alone because with God, I'm here and I'll continue to be. I'm a lay preacher too. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Justice McDonald-Bishop. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this function. On behalf of the Governor General, I thank you for attending this important ceremony as a mark of your support for the newly sworn President of the Court of Appeal. Congratulations, Justice McDonald-Bishop. We wish you every blessing in the execution of your duties. Thank you. The protocol personnel will prepare for a photo opportunity at the front of the ballroom with His Excellency, the Prime Minister, Chief Justice, President of the Court of Appeal, and former President of the Court of Appeal. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming out today. Have a good day.